All right. Kindly make your way through and in. We're just about to kick off. So next up we have Luke Haber and James Short talking about hunting nation-state APTs in telecommunication networks, intelligence lessons from the front lines. I'm actually really looking forward to this one, so thanks very much. And can we have a warm round of applause for Luke and James, please?
Good afternoon. Got the time right? How's everyone? Good? Show of hands, how many people were at our threat hunting workshop yesterday? Nice, nice. So today's talk is going to be about, obviously, hunting nation state, but yesterday we did a workshop for some people to sort of show how we do it, so that was a good part of it. I'm Luke Haber. I'm a cyber operations manager at a New South Wales government department called New South Wales Telco. We provide all the telecommunications for emergency services. Prior to that, I was a CBA incident response manager for about 4 or 5 years, having a bit of fun in CBA doing incident things that I can't talk about. And I spent some time in the TAFE and education departments as well, doing various roles in cyber and technical. And also a stint in a bit of teaching, which is always good. My colleague here, James Short, introduce yourself.
I'm James. No, so I'm not as steeped in the cyber stuff as Luke. I was law enforcement for 20 years. The last 10 years of that was counter-terrorism and shenanigans, which I can't really go into. But I fell into this, actually at a pub, with an ex-mate. So it's kind of a really interesting place to start, and all the conversations I've been having seem to be generated around how we do this stuff with people trying to poke us and prod us. So it kind of works really closely in alignment with counter-terrorism. Yeah.
Quick disclaimer, work has approved us to be here. Most of this is open source intelligence and research. We've got some links at the end of the talk. All this stuff you can find out yourselves. It's from mainstream reporting, and we've used a limited bit of AI to create some nice little pickies. Look, we're going to talk to you today why telecommunications is a cyber target. We're going to go through the how and the when, the how and the who, sorry. And look, geopolitical stuff happening at the moment increases cyber activity. We see it with the Russian-Ukraine war. We see it with the activity in Gaza. We see it with the political stuff happening around the Asia region. Why do we care? Because critical infrastructure is being targeted. And when we talk about critical infrastructure, we talk about power, energy, telecommunications, banking. You can't get your money, can't buy food, can't buy fuel, can't go to work. So we look at who's targeting these things, and each industry is a little bit different. And what are we doing about it? We're taking a focused approach to our intel. There's the intel circle is quite wide. Everyone's attacking you. But if you start to focus in and hone in who's looking at you, that's what we've done. Who is New South Wales Telco Authority? New member to AusCert. Yay. We're a small team. We've got about 18. We prominently do SecOps, network ops, GRC, the usual sort of stuff. We do the critical emergency stuff. So radio network linked by data that basically, 000, not 000. 000 does the dispatch to the emergency services using our radio network. So it's a LAN mobile radio network. Many, many sites. If you look on top of most mountains or most sort of tall buildings in like New South Wales, you'll see some telecommunications gear that looks a bit like, Optus towers and stuff like that. It's similar. This is a critical infrastructure provider who actually saves lives.
So we're DCS, and I'm still coming to terms with what that means, but we're huge. 30 plus agencies, multiple digital islands, and pretty much a cacophony of multi-layered cyber stuff that no one really is responsible for, but everyone's responsible for if it breaks. And when you ask about attack surface, people just look at me, shake my head, and just walk away. So it's very, very different with a parent company that help Telco if something happens, and communicating between these areas only just happened formally 12 months, really, when his boss asked a lot of questions, and my people were like, hey, he asked a lot of questions and it really hurt. And I said, hey, I'll take the Pepsi challenge and go over there and see if I can help that with some questions. Don't mind a good fight. And it's worked really well for us. Yeah.
All right, Australia's head of ASIO warns China espionage threat to businesses and critical infrastructure. Whoa. This is quite a significant thing. Chinese state hackers attempting to infiltrate the nation's infrastructure and telecommunications networks. Riding on the back, he actually named Volt Typhoon. And the penetrations gave China the ability to turn off telecommunications and other critical infrastructure. James, let's think about this for a second. 3 points here. It's very, very rare that someone at the ASIO level comments and publicly names China.
Yep. So, like I said, counterterrorism, everything's in. You don't tell them anything. You don't tell them anything about your weaknesses. You don't admit that these guys are there. You just do your job. You wrap them up in a net and hit them and get rid of them. So for these guys to be coming out, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times and say, hey, ASIO, hey, Russia, hey, India, what are you guys doing? And kicking a whole bunch of people out and going, hey, take your cyber shenanigans with you and hit the road is a big deal. And if anything, it's probably being understated.
We're going to have a Colin Powell moment. Colin Powell is famous for saying, tell me what you know, tell me what you think, and tell me not necessarily in that order, or keep it separated. So James, I'm going to ask you, tell me what you know.
Now, I tried to do this when we were talking and drinking at the pub and said, no, I don't know anything. But what we know is there are a lot of state players, so we just call them state players, doing shenanigans. Shenanigans being poking and prodding, taking our personal data, taking or breaching our digital sovereignty, if I may, in a scale that we haven't seen before. And you remember when we had a Cold War, it was cold because no one really knew about it. You saw little snippets of things and a lot of it was downplayed. We're seeing active stuff happening now, including interference in our voting processes or internal conflicting or any sort of rub that's happening within a nation can be exploitable.
All right. Tell me what you don't know.
Love this question. What I don't know. Yeah, the list is huge. But what I don't know is when they're going to happen again, when they're going to poke us in a vulnerability that we hadn't seen or some sort of legacy. I learned legacy was a swear word in this industry, which is awesome. Legacy, when we don't know what our endpoints are, when we don't know that someone who's really smart is actually really dumb because they're bringing stuff into your networks, circumventing security. It's what we don't know. And you don't know unless you ask the question, or if you have the conversations with the bosses, or you have the conversations with the team. We do this a lot. Mathematically, that's 25% of all you're seeing in a conversation. I'm a human by trade. I talk to people. I measure people. As a cop, you can sum someone up in 3 seconds and go, drug dealer, pimp. You get to know these things. So our conversation, having a face-to-face conversation, I'm getting 78% of my read from his body language. And I get to know, hey, I'm hitting a nerve here. We've had a conversation, and now I know which way I need to go with this. And I may or may not have used that at someone high level to corner them and scare them into doing something for me. So.
All right, the multi-million-dollar moment. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, like last time I did this, I got trouble. So what I think is there are a lot of conflict points around the world. Those conflict points right now create a lot of white noise, a lot of destabilisation within regions, and within those currents of white noise, we have a lot of movements into critical infrastructure, into networks, government, into supply chains, into a whole range of things that we don't normally or will not look at because we're too busy with the noise. Commando tactics. I make a noise over here, I do some shenanigans over here. When I'm finished, I make some more noise over here so everyone looks, then I go back to where I was. And that's what we're seeing. A lot of these attacks, it's a lot of lateral movement, and trying to track those movements and those behavioural pieces is kind of difficult.
Let's have a look at the recent cyber landscape.
Apologise for the colours here.
Apologise. Look, we've got military conflict going on in the Middle East, and so we see an increase in attacks, both from Israel, Palestine, Iran back out as well. We've got the Ukraine-Russia war. Thankfully, most of Ukraine's good hackers are very busy with Russia at the moment, so that seems to be taking up a lot of their time. The AWS data centres were recently targeted as part of Iran. I know that's not cyber, but you know they've got some pretty important and critical sort of data centres there that power AI due to the energy and stuff in the UAE area. We saw some large DOS attacks last year. against Azure and like some of the largest ever seen. Still not sure where some of those are coming from. North Korea fires missiles into Japan, South Korea, and then all of a sudden they put out phishing alerts with, read this update now, what's going on, and people get phished and credentials are stolen. The Taiwan sovereignty area. Definitely some tension there. Who's going to own that waterway? What's going to happen to Taiwan? The gas pipeline attacks, which Shannon mentioned earlier. That was definitely, affected the supply chain of, fuel supplies. Undersea cable, look, well, maybe it wasn't quite an attack. The Yemen, the submarine cable that got, crashed. But a lot of those cables, 30% of the world's internet runs up through the Suez Canal and into the Mediterranean. So there was major impact there to that. Venezuela, we saw the US take out power and comms before an attack. So yes, the US Cyber Command has capability. Apparently they're white hat guys, maybe grey hat, I don't know.
Yeah, and so on that, so I recently finished a long master's, and the last part of it was OSINTing the war zone between Russia and the Ukraine and identifying these things. And one of the first areas that we've been seeing constantly is bullets aren't the first thing. Tanks rolling up to a border is part of it, but you're seeing a cyber attack or some sort of cyber blackout before things happen. And it's happened time and time again. When we first said it, it's like, oh, that's very unlikely. 4 times in my business, it's not a coincidence, no such thing. Something to be really mindful of.
All right, let's have a look at the last 5 years. And look, this slide is very heavy. I apologise. We couldn't actually fit everything that happened into the telco industry into this one, so we had some snippets. A few Optus attacks in there, iiNet. We had a major ZD for Microsoft Server 2021. Where is it? The AT&T leaks. So 2024, we see Salt Typhoon hitting most of the major telcos in the US. More recently, Shiny Hunters, they hit a telecommunication in Canada. And definitely some shenanigans between Ukraine and Russia hitting, was it telecom or telecom signal, mostly messaging apps that are being used in war. Let's take a closer look to home. Sorry to Optus if you're in the room. That's just having a look, probably the last 7 years with data breaches, cyber incidents, things that are impacting telecommunications. You probably don't know some of them. Mastercom, they do most of the radios at ports, councils. They got hit recently with a ransomware. Significant up there is Singtel Optus last year. 4 major telcos hit. Big deal because Optus is the subsidiary of Singtel. Any other interesting out of that one? Oh, the Optus one. 2023, who's an Optus customer still? Yeah, I'm still a customer. Big data breach caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. Here's a graph from Mandiant over the last country profile for the last 12 months, and you can see 25% is targeted at telecommunications at the moment. So that's quite high. That's a reputable source. We can definitely see hospitality's getting a bit of whack too. Why is hospitality getting a whack? Probably don't have security as big as some of the government departments, telecommunications, education. Mums and dad fish and chip shops with their FPOS machine, that sort of thing. Globally, let's take it a look again. Credit strikes seen an increase in the past 12 months. This is the next report isn't out at the moment, this is 24 to 25, but a 53% increase in telecommunications from nation-state activity. That's quite huge. I'm actually hanging out for the next one because it's going to have all the telcos. I think we looked at it, James. I think the last half of last year, including the half, I think it was 19 or 20 telco-related companies. I started off doing this talk, or getting data for this talk, and it was 9 just in the US alone. And an industry peak at that. And you can see down on this graph here, 130, there's the mark for telecommunications. Technology still heavily covered. Consulting, government's always a target. 185% increase in government. Who's from government in here? Yeah? Oh. No? A few? Governments get targeted pretty hard. Why do governments get targeted hard?
Let's face it, we are huge, we are slow, and people move around a lot, so a project starts, the project might not end, someone else catches it, and then pick up the pieces as you move.
All right, let's have a bit of a look at how telecommunications is targeted. OT is a blind spot. Who's got OT in their environment? It's not the traditional security stuff. You can't patch it. It's designed by engineers. If you're in critical infrastructure, you can't turn it off to patch it or reboot it because it's being used. Supply chain stuff, the vendor compromises. Not just my vendor, it's your vendor's vendor or your vendor's vendor's contractor. In my business, we're in protected network environment, critical infrastructure, you have to have security clearances. Does the guy at the 5th level of the contractor have the security clearance that's working on your data that's 3 levels downstream? No. People risk, definitely insider threats. We're going to show a couple of them in the telecommunications industry. There was quite a famous one with L3 Harris selling secrets to the Russians. L3 Harris, it does military communications equipment as well. Exploited vulnerabilities. Now, Shannon talked about that. The perimeter network for telecommunications is a target. SD-WAN, SD-WAN, VPN, SD-WAN, SD-WAN. I can't keep saying that enough. Patch latency and cadence. They all know that we don't patch the lows and the mediums, the regular cadency. Criticals, maybe we might get to them in 7 days. I heard 30 days yesterday in our talk. Is about an average.
No?
If you're in critical infrastructure, maybe you got
40?
40?
40 days.
40 days.
Have you an advancement on 40? Anyone? Anyone go 50? No? Okay.
My agency patches pretty quick when it can, but for the OT stuff, we can't patch it.
No.
We just can't. They can't put a patch on OT stuff that is in critical communications because emergency services are relying on it. And if they patch it and it breaks, you're in trouble.
And so one of the first things I did when I was over there, I said, hey, just patch that shit. Just do it. Oh, you'll break this. Well, just patch it. Oh no, there's going to be like 6 months. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to have a discussion about the discussion before we have the discussion. And then we've got to talk to the tech guys. You've got to flick the switch, and then it's a whole mess. And it's like, okay, no worries. I'll leave you to it.
Lack of alerting. Who has C2 exfiltration alerts in their SIEM? Yeah, a few hands. If you don't, have a look at it. It's one of the main exfiltration points for any of these data breaches, any of these intrusions that you see. They get in your network. They're going to get that out somehow.
Who has any C4? No, just kidding.
I should have amended this slide. I took the swear word out. Triple DS, it's a term that I've come up. Devs do dumb shit. When I worked in a yellow brand bank, it was constant. Devs doing stuff, devs breaking the rules, devs want to build their own AD, devs don't want security controls, devs want to do any rules on AWS. Not fun. So look, devs need to be trained. They need to just get that DevSecOps mindset. When they do stuff, build the security in, test it, pen test it. Don't put cuss data on dev with no controls, public access. Obfuscate, I'm not going to say that word, you can say it.
Obfuscate.
Your data, if you're testing. But dev stuff, pre-prod, should have the same almost controls as prod. Why not? You've got to test it and make sure it's working. Why not test the controls? A lot of people don't want to do that.
And I guess to come back to Shen, down the bottom, are you looking at actioning active intelligence relating to your sector or organisation? Yesterday, a whole bunch of people said, hey, what do I do? How do I start? Well, who's your biggest threat? What's your biggest weakness? What's your biggest shortcoming? How can you put this together? You have to know these things first. Have you had a conversation with your boss? Hey, boss, if we get kicked hard, where do you want me to start? You got to have that, and you have to earn this, but you got to have that face-to-face conversation, even if it's only 30 minutes once every 3 weeks, so you can read the boss, see what he wants, see what he needs. It's really important.
We're going to have to speed through some slides.
You're talking, bro, go.
Why are we a target? Look, there's some stats from Motorola. They monitor all the ransomware attacks. They monitor all emergency organisations around the world, police, fire, radio, like systems over there that get attacked. Quite high. We're a strategic target. Like, we provide a critical service. So if they can get in and disrupt us, it's bad. Disruption is bad, particularly when there's like a national thing going on. So, when there was I think significant weather events, disasters, you see an increase in phishing.
Again, flashpoints. It can be natural, can be unnatural, man-made, can be just something made to make the opportunity to make some more noise.
And geopolitical events, like every time the government comes out and says, we're sending Ukraine something, you know, I'm certain we get an influx of extra Russian attention.
100%. 100%.
And look, we use the same tech that the US military uses. We use the same American companies, so the American companies get targeted.
Yep.
During the Iran conflict, Iran came out and named a whole lot of companies and said, we're going to target you. Whether they have or not, you know, but put a pin on them.
It was awesome. So again, from yesterday, when I was asked, focus your approach, focus your intel, focus why it matters. Figure out why we care. Because the boss is going to ask you, hey, you told me this slide's really pretty, I really like slide 3, but why the hell do I care? Why am I going to give you some money? Answer that before you get there, because then he's going to go, hey, this guy's prepared. Analyst viewpoint, it matters. You sifted through 300 pages to be able to talk to your boss for 3 points. You're going to know some stuff in the background. Contextualise for him. He's not going to know, he's not going to have the time to contextualise. So I always say to my boss, hey, I need 5 minutes of your time. You want to do it here at the pub. And if he's had a bad day, I'll go, let's go to the pub. Do it wherever you can. Geopolitical, we've already said this a number of times. Every time we sneeze and someone gets offended, we get attacked. And we've seen this time and time again. I've been in cyber for just over 3 years, and I can tell you now, we've upset a certain country, no minerals, and that sector's been targeted 2 weeks later. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. And assumptions and bias. Again, we went over that yesterday. Don't go in there and go, hey, it's not us. It's not going to be China, it's not going to be Russia, because I haven't seen it in my time, and I've been in this business for 26 years. That's just the way it is. So, no, it's a bias. Things change, technologies change. AI, elephant in the room, has sped things up, and now we have what we have today. And in this community, again, national security, I had more conversations about TS shit than you guys will even release. And all I'm asking for is OICs from you, or what you're seeing, or initial vectors. You think you were hanging on to a crown jewel.
All right, name and shame. Had some fun with the slide. We're not afraid to pull some punches. It's your slide, bro.
Yeah, I don't know whether I need to really say too much here, bro. So these are our main food groups. We've alluded to China, Russia, North Korea, Iran. It's our food groups. Then we have hacktivists. But don't get caught up in all the hacktivist stuff, because the stuff around Gaza, I think Recorded Future and the CIA did a really good presentation, and they were very articulate in the fact that there was only about 40-odd hacktivist groups at the time, and after Gaza happened and everything started to heat up, it jumped by another 120. Those were used as white noise facilitators to cross those lines into red territory where you would normally get bombed and have plausible deniability. So don't believe everything that you see on the TikTok, Instagram and stuff.
Let's not ignore Shiny. You know, the Havoc, they're opportunists. They hit anybody. If you're not doing a threat hunt for Shiny as the random, the joker in the pack, be doing that.
Education, anyone? Anyone? Yeah, ooh, yeah, sorry.
Patch that Moodle.
Yep.
Wanted to add the one on the end, the capable, right? We all know, or apparently they're the good guys, but, you know, they've got capability as well. Israel has capability. Ukraine definitely has some capability. Call out for those guys, best drone fighting force in the world. And they're in an active cyber war against Russia.
All this stuff brings to one question, and I've said it before, time and time again within government, we do not hold a proper security mindset. We're Australians. We don't give a shit. We're geopolitically, geographically isolated. Why do we care? We're surrounded by crocs and all things that can kill us. We don't care. Our security mindset is not there. I'm not saying we need to stop everyone based on race, colour, gender, whatever. A security mindset is about not leaving your computer open, wearing your name tag where you have to. Don't just let someone walk in behind you. This is basic things. But we don't have it because people don't like to be told. But we need to start telling people, hey, there's a consequence to you not listening, and there's a consequence to you being an idiot all the time. Sorry, I don't know what the political word is for idiot, but my industry's still an idiot.
Why nation states? Let's have a look at them. What makes them different to shiny hunters? Shiny hunters probably go on holiday once they've had a good pay date. These guys have got unlimited resources of a country. They're not operating illegally. They're not going to get arrested if they're doing stuff for the state. Skills. Imagine the talent pool in China. just one country I would like to mention. They can pull the best, the very best of all around all around their country.
And a lot of them don't have a choice. Let's be clear, we're in a democratic state and we can say to the government, no, we don't agree with you. China, Russia, places like that, you can't say that. It's by law that you have to tell them if you find a vulnerability. It's by law that you have to share information of things you've seen. So it's not as if you have a whole lot of choices.
What was that ratio you punched out in our workshop to
We
blue
worked
team
out
over
rough
here?
numbers. There was 1,000 of them to every one of us in government.
And they have the opportunity 24/7, just like we've got our socks going 24/7. They got that capability to go. We go on holiday, we have weekends, we're not looking at stuff. They just keep going.
And for a quick refresher from yesterday, what did I say about the 24/7? Key dates matter. Key dates. Always happens. CT, these things aren't coincidental. A key date, hey, you're having Thanksgiving, good, we're going to hit you. Hey, you're going to have Australia Day, well, we're going to hit you. It happens. You look at it on the internet and you'll see it.
And look at the motivation. Like, Ukraine and Russia are at war. They hate each other. North Korea, South Korea, they're mortal enemies. So there's motivation amongst those groups as well that's, politically motivated.
Yeah.
All right, mic drop slide. APTs, targeting telecommunications. I want to say top, but you can sort of get the idea. The first 2 or 3
Busy.
Are there.
They're busy.
We had fun with this slide. We're not naming names, but if you want to know what some of these names are, shout out to Dave Matthews from Thrunter. Has an awesome website with descriptions and puts all the names that the vendors, there's no common naming. It's a problem that needs a bit of sorting, but Dave's site the Thrunter, is awesome, and we fully use it for doing some of our research and collating. They call them UNC, APTs, Storms, Pandas, Kittens, all different names, but that site's really good.
And
James,
again, that adds to it, isn't it? The names, the amount of names, the different names. When you got one threat hunt, like Threat Guy, with 36 different names, and you're told to go and pull something in an hour to front to the boss, it can get complicated.
James, I'm new to cyber, and I want to know why there's so much red on this slide.
Let's just say they're really busy. Got a lot of money, a lot of motivation. They don't really care how they take over the world or how they control things, and they don't really care about what they need to do to control their production, shipping lanes, let's just say South China Sea, regional impacts on us, the list goes on. They're very busy. I hate them because they're so good and so sophisticated, and I am so slow with all things cyber. I have to Google some of the things that they do, and even then I have to talk to people to go, hey, what does that mean? But the one thing that anyone will say about me, anyone knows me in any of my careers, is I'm very dogged. I'm a very poor loser, and I'll keep working until I grind the gristle on that.
How many of you here are using telecommunications for, internet and stuff like that? Like, pretty much, I should see everyone's hands. You're pretty much all. So telecommunications are entry points into other areas. So if these guys get into, say, a government or a university, are you going to see university, another uni's traffic and go, oh, that's just university of that university. I won't name any. But you might not. They get into networks, they move around. Particularly for us as a provider to government, it's entry point into all the government agencies that matter.
And like we said yesterday, if you're in the university and you go, oh, we're just a university, step back and have a look at the optics here. Why are they hitting the universities? Are those universities tethered to some sort of technical research belonging to some sort of Western government? Ask the question, because it's very valid. They don't just do things by halves, and it's not just to get you to make your day bad.
Let's dive into a few countries. I'll go fast on these ones. Call out the bottom one. Ex-ASD guy selling secrets to a broker who was selling them to the Russians. Working for L3 Harris. We use L3 Harris antennas and telecommunications equipment. Bit of a worry for us when that happens.
Yeah. A lot of knowledge there, a lot of tradecraft, a lot of understanding of how we do things, and then he's selling stuff as well.
NATO countries around Russia.
Take your pick. Basically, the lines are being drawn around Ukraine, and with what's happening with America now, America's sort of pushing back. So there's going to be probably a reshuffle in the establishment with the European Union. There's going to be some breakaways, different comms. Russia's in that area trying to take up all the IPs, to control the IPs. So I know IPs are very transient, but they are still part of your fingerprint to track things. Iran's the same, and anyone who doesn't think that Iran has anything to do with us, if they smash a couple key pieces of telecommunication stuff over there, it will impact Australia. So if I take a big rock and this is a pond and you show me, I throw that rock in, what's going to happen? There's going to be a ripple effect. Might not happen straight away, but it will catch up with us one way or another, financially, tech, services. So what's the first thing everyone says? Oh, they just do crypto. Don't worry about it, it's just crypto. But to what purpose? Where does that crypto go? Who do they impact? What do they draw from those crypto heists? And where else do they laterally move when they do things? Question needs to be asked. And the biggest physical army of trying to infiltrate you and give you a hard time, hey, hire me, I'm really good, look what I'm doing. I can't answer your question straight away, but hey, let me Google that in English so I can send the answer back to you, but I don't want to meet you. Oh, no alarm bells here, is there?
Save the best for last.
Did I say that these were all Luke's ideas and I was just going along because,
Why, James? Why these guys? Run through it.
All right, so China's big, China's good, and they're very determined. There's a whole destabilisation point in the economy side of it. Let's topple the US dollar. Let's make everyone look bad. Let's seize all of the water around us because they're landlocked. So, they're landlocked in this country with a whole bunch of other countries that don't always like them, and they only have the waterways. Who's on the waterways? NATO. They have one transit lane, which is the Malacca Strait, and so they've gone and controlled South China Sea, and they're pushing. So they're doing a whole bunch of things that are coming towards our region. These guys are really good, very motivated. They've done a whole bunch of initiatives because they have 5-year plans. So not only do they have 5-year plans, they're up to their 15th 5-year plan. What was our term of government? 3 years? 3 years. We'll bring in all the infrastructure for you for all your telecommunications and internet. It's a good deal, right? Anyone from the islands? Beautiful deal. What do they get? What are you selling out when you do that? They have access to everything that runs through those systems. It is a bugging system without bugging you. It's beautiful.
Let's go through the big guys real quick.
No one knows who these guys are. It's a really small group. Basically, smashed America, smashed all of their telecommunications. Again, I stood back. I like to work sometimes backwards, which is counterintuitive to a lot of things. But when you looked at the attack vectors that you could see on open source, they went through Honduras, Mexico, Canada, before they hit America. And they didn't just get into the telecommunications, they got into the wiretaps and the court side of things, and even some of the more secret sides of the channels. And from that, they were able to have data that you shouldn't normally have, including tracking data, GPS data, and things like that. So it's a big problem. And as they continue, we've seen them here. So we started a threat hunt, started looking at them because we saw information of their IPs looking at telecommunications here.
Just going to blast past Salt. Salt's another one that's on our radar.
Volt.
That was the one that was named by ASIO.
It's Volt. We saw them in activity in the government. Lots. Others to watch. Cauldron. Why? They just hit Singtel. Singtel, parent company of Optus. Everyone uses Optus. Going.
All right, what are we going to do about it? Robust patch management. I know Shannon talked about it. It's hard. You can't do it.
Easy.
You got to, where you can, force to do it. Just make it happen. Kick in P1s, P2s if you got to make it happen, but just get that SD-WAN, that perimeter stuff done at least. At least you know the stuff that's out there publicly on the internet and reachable. You're patching it. Increase your monitoring of threats. So I said before, if you haven't got a C2 exfiltration, make sure you have. Brute force. If accounts are constantly getting attacked, limit your mission critical communications. So who's got access to your net? Who does whitelists? Do whitelisting. Don't let them. Don't put stuff out on the internet unless you have to. Focus on your OT stuff, and ensure ComSec. ComSec is making sure you got encrypted communications. Develop and rehearse your incident response plans and your TTXs. That's really critical. That gets your muscle memory and it gets your ability to react. And stay informed and use defender communities. OzCert is a defender community. We're sharing our threat hunts with you guys. We want you to go and threat hunt.
Just don't laugh at me. Okay?
Conduct your targeted threat hunts on these APTs. So we've identified some on there that are impacting us. We're doing threat hunts on those. The TPPs for those are, cover about 80-90% sometimes. Big elephant in the room, AI. I'm not going to go there. Might just skip through some threat hunt stuff. Intel period of pain. If you haven't had a look at it, harder to do the stuff at the top. Easy stuff's IPs, hashes, TPPs and tools are a lot harder.
Yep. Yeah. What I said before, sometimes you have to go through all the IOCs at the bottom to get those partial fingerprints, to get the fingerprint on what you're looking at. And you're not going to know until you chew through it. It's just as simple as that. You have to chew through the bottom to get to the top. And once you get to the top, you have to have conversations with those decision makers to make things happen.
Skip through to you.
It's all bad. Deep dive, still all bad.
All right, we did a threat hunt on Salt Typhoon, which led to us doing more research, which led to us doing a talk. What did we find? Dissemination,
feedback, all critical. I don't care if you said it sucks, show me something better, show me a better way, I'll take the Pepsi challenge.
So we found 2 IPs. We didn't know where the hell and why they were talking, and they were coming from a telecommunications provider. We were like, oh, that's bad.
Yep.
We had some CVs that we forgot about from 2001 that were Microsoft Outlook ones, overlooked.
Yep.
We had some on-prem Exchange servers sitting somewhere doing something not turned
Yep.
off. Turn off your old stuff. Your project might be finished, but the gear might be still running. It might be talking to the internet. Big part of that is we shared the threat hunt. We shared the threat hunt back with our vendors. We shared it to other agencies. We shared it with Cyber New South Wales, and we shared it with OzCert. Oh, I'm just going to jump through that.
Yep. I had to change this just so you know, because it wasn't politically correct.
I want to get to the main slide.
Yep.
Got to share. There's no point us doing all this good work and we don't use it. We're not vendors. We want other people to take what we've got. If we've got bad IPs, they're bad IPs. If they're not in a vendor platform, we're not going to put them in the platform for the vendor. So we're going to share that out with community. Key takeaways. Telecommunications is a highly desirable cyber target. It's entry points into networks, entry points into your organization, entry points, across. Tailor your intel and your threat hunting to who's targeting sector. So have a close look. Education, shiny hunters. Telecommunications, Salt and Bolt Typhoon, a few others. Look for the conflict flashpoints that are happening around the world, because that leads to, who potentially could be targeting you as well. Patch the network perimeter and internet-facing infrastructure as a priority. Can't keep saying that over and over and over. A lot of those Salt Typhoon, Bolt Typhoon things, the stuff that happened in Singapore CERT weren't saying much, but go to their website and have a look. SD-WAN for Juniper, Fortinet, F5. So obviously SD-WAN was an area of focus. And intel's hard to come by. So share the intel. It's better that we do this as defended communities, because if you're popped, that may affect me. My kids might go to that school, that university. I might buy that service. I might use that brand of telecommunications. Questions? Sorry, we had to burn through that a little bit too quick.
That was great. Thank you. So it sounds like we're stuffed.
Not necessarily. I don't think we're stuffed. I think eyes wide open. Quite often I have these conversations with IT people, professionals, friends, and they go, but China's our friend, they're our trading partner. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they want to get economic advantage on us. Doesn't mean that they want to get technological advantage. Other countries are the same. We do trade all around the world. We've got minerals. We're a resource country. So we just have to sort of have that mindset that James was talking about.
We have a lot of frenemies. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and there's a good podcast by Nicole Pelroth that goes through the whole kind of China's 15 5-year plans and how that's actually starting to pan out now.
I mean, what we've been able to do in the last 12 months, it's a refined lens. It's looking very closely at our industry, looking at who's targeting this, looking at the attacks that are happening. Most of this stuff's open source data, like if we go to the next slide, there's all the reference points just that we could fit on 2 slides. There's a lot there. There's a lot of data there. I think the ATT and Verizon one was like 60 million people in the US, their data. You know, that's a lot of pie sitting out there.
Are there any questions in the room? Okay.
We like whiskey and beer too.
I was going to say, that this is a related question to that almost. Like, you know, you're public servants, many of them are public servants. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a chat, and I don't mean like in an interview room with a phone book, which APT group would you most like to go like, so what are you guys doing? What's your deal?
Look, I think there's a whole bunch there that are all linked to the MSS, so I think it'll be a lot of party line doctrine. I don't think it'll really matter. A lot of them leverage off each other. You know, you're really good at getting me in, I'm really good at creating a whole bunch of, you know, noise, and I'm really good at doing stuff to stick it to them. I don't think there's anyone in particular. Salt Typhoon would be a good one to talk to because they're just so prolific. But I think the guys from Cauldron Panda would be nice to talk to because they've done something for a long time and they've flown under the radar longer than Salt Typhoon. I look at it, if I don't see reporting, I'm going, there's an investigation on, or someone's not saying anything, and then I get suspicious and I'll go look. So it's kind of like, yeah, a little bit different, but one of those two.
Cool, thanks, Kane. Any other questions? Any quick questions?
Thank you. This one's for you, James, because I talked about it a little bit too. You've talked about it, communication. When you have security teams, they're often very technical and doing that communication can be quite difficult.
Yep.
What would you recommend for teams, either hiring or even skills, to focus on being able to do that communication a little bit better? Like, I've worked in teams, again, where we've had diversity from law enforcement all the way through to very, very, very technical people.
Yep.
Not everyone can do that.
So 2 things on that. I worked directly under as an SME for New South Wales Police Counter-Terrorism, not necessarily digital, but shenanigans surrounding digital so we could see who's going to blow us up and who's not. So the conversation piece is one of the things you get trained a lot on. And that boss was always like, I don't need to know everything you need to know. I just need to know that you know it. And I surround myself with people like you, firstly. Secondly, I didn't come from a cyber background. I actually hate computers, and I'm the first one to kick mine across the room when the red button doesn't work. But if I ask you for some information or I don't know, tell me like I'm a 10-year-old and break it down for me so I know, firstly. Secondly, if I don't know, I'm not going to sit there and try and talk to him on a computer because I'm just not going to know how to read that properly. Get those face-to-face encounters. And I think that if I was hiring someone, optics. I don't know how to talk to this guy directly. He's a pain in the ass. How do I circumvent him? How do I get around this conversation? Know how to sort of play that game a little bit. And I know it's bad, but some people just don't want to change. I want to come in, I want to bundy on, tick the box and go. I'm not one of those people, so it really irritates me. I put some distance between me and myself, like those sorts of things, and look for people like-minded. And the last thing, like we hit on yesterday, some sort of community of practice where you are legitimately going to come in and work, share, come back and go, hey, we found this, we used this template, this is what came back, and pay it forward. You got to talk to each other. This is the one area where if you don't talk to someone, oh, look, Smither got done. Oh, glad I don't work for Smither. We got to help each other. Conversation. Just a cup of coffee, beer, whatever you prefer, whiskey. Conversation.
Heard whiskey a few times. And I think we can all resonate and definitely relate. Well, I think most of us hate computers. Anyway, can we have a warm round of applause for Luke and James, please?